We're talking about Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
The new one is out. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It comes out on Tuesday, right?
No, it was out on Friday.
Okay,
Came out yesterday.
Sorry, I keep forgetting
It's out now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
At your local retailer.
Buy it now.
Buy me Bone Storm or go to hell.
That's right.
Have you bought it yet, Christine?
No.
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
I almost
She's giving me cut eye like the whole time.
I almost want to leave so I don't hear anything about it.
Well,
I won't. There will not be any. There won't be any spoilers.
Okay,
I'll
so
give you that.
You have a lot of
let's
notes.
just do
Yeah, there's a lot of notes, and it says this is who dies. I'm just kidding.
Let's preface this. In the history of this show, I don't think there's ever been a time where Christine has not reviewed an Assassin's game.
Yeah, I've played
You may have reviewed
everyone.
it- You may have reviewed it with someone else, like myself or Brian or Zach, but it's always been you.
Yeah.
And you are a self-professed Assassin's fan. You are a
really
Assassin's
am.
person. You love the series. So you messaged me a week ago and said, hey, did we get anything from Ubisoft about Assassins? And I was like, we sure did. And you're like, yay! And, I'm like, uh-oh. And you're like, just don't tell me that they sent it only for the PlayStation 4. I was like, well, I won't tell you that, but that doesn't mean that that's not what happened.
I had the Ralph Wiggum heartbreak.
I have quite a few feelings. One, I feel really bad that I got through. No, because like it's the equivalent to me not being able to review a Total War game and having to sit through somebody else review it. It's painful. That would be painful for me. So I feel a lot of pressure that I can't F this up. Because she's sitting here staring at me.
Now, I don't know if we told you. I'm sure we didn't tell you this, Patrick, but we brought you on the show under a probationary basis.
Yes.
And your probation isn't up yet. We didn't tell you this before.
I'm sweating,
but
I'm worried, I'm shaking.
If you mess this up, we're going to throw you out mid-show.
Yeah.
You'll be done.
Yeah. So Assassin's Creed.
Okay, so Assassin's Creed Syndicate follows up Assassin's Creed Unity, which, let's be honest, not a lot of people loved.
No.
A lot of people had problems with it.
A lot of them.
I don't think it was terrible.
No.
But I think a lot of people had really high hopes for it, and it didn't live up to expectations.
And it had the glitch scene around the world with the no face. And
the creepy.
The terrible. It was just, there were a lot of problems with the game.
So Syndicate.
Yes.
We're going to English.
Should I start off with where this takes place, or should I start off with those issues from Unity?
Let's start off with set the scene for us. Where is Syndicate? Where does this? Each assassin goes to a different place.
Yes.
So where are we?
So we're in Victorian era London.
Right.
So it's like 1880 something.
Which
1880.
Which I think is a great setting for a game.
It is a good setting for a game.
It's steampunk era, right?
Yes.
It's a lot of exciting things are happening
right off
in
the bat,
London,
the menu's got a little steampunk Assassin's Creed symbol and everything, so you know what you're getting into right off the bat when you start this game. You're playing Jacob and Evie Fry, who are twins. So you are a female assassin.
Nice.
So that's a first. That's good.
Which makes me very happy.
Yes.
Well, it's the first in the main games.
Yes, first in the main games.
Yeah.
And
because the smaller games you were playing as well.
You were a woman in the smaller ones. And you have to go to London to rid Crawford Steric of it, who is a Templar who's running the city. He's got his, sticky little fingers in every section of London, either through his gang called the Blighters, or he corrupt politicians and stuff like that. So you basically have to go to London to. Jacob wants to go to London to free London of the Blighters and start his own gang. Evie wants to go to London to find a piece of Eden. And I'll say right off the bat, if you haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed games, you are going to be so lost.
Oh, yeah?
It is unreal. So read up on it. Ubisoft has a little primer that you can watch that gives you the history of Assassin's Creed and all the games and everything that's gone on.
Well, yeah, because by this time, a lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Like, a lot even happened between, the last 3 games.
Yes, yeah.
And when they changed over from when the Ezio series ended after that, tons of stuff has happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened. So don't buy this game and not read up on Assassin's Creed.
Not know who a Templar is.
Yes, because they won't explain much. You'll learn stuff through the game through encyclopedias and not really flashbacks, but just vague references that the current assassins will make, but for the most part, you will be extremely lost.
Yeah.
So read up on it, watch a video or something, you know. At the same time as the assassins are running around London, the current assassins are trying to find the same piece of Eden. That's basically done through cutscenes.
Okay.
So there's no interaction with the new assassins. It's just, you know, you kind of get sucked out, and then, like, these are the assassins, this is what they're doing. And
So this is current time versus past time? Like, okay.
yeah, the current time is just through cutscenes.
Yes,
You're
okay.
there's no interaction on there at all.
Interesting.
So right off the bat, this game is very, very streamlined. They've cut out all the fat from Unity. You know how in Unity they had the map and there was all these co-op missions you could do and all these other
Tons.
missions you could do.
It was such a cluttered map.
Yes, it was a cluttered mess of a map. This is hyper focused. There's none of that co-op different missions that you can only do at certain points in time. It's obviously, you know, you don't want to do this mission because you're level 2 and it's level 6. You'll probably get your ass kicked. But it's focused. This is a game that knows exactly what it's going to give you, and it does it very well. The graphical glitches from Unity are gone. The frame rate in the game is very good. I only experienced a couple of issues with frame rate and sound. There were a couple glitches in sound, but for the most part, it's a very fine-tuned game. I didn't really get a lot of issues with it. The look of London is gorgeous. Just walking through the street at night with the lamps lighting the cobblestone streets and people, you know, dumping crap on literally out of a bucket into the floor and little beggars asking for money. The city is so alive in this game. It's so wonderful to either run through the streets or run along the tops of buildings. They've introduced a couple of new things to the game. One is a grappling hook.
Nice.
So some of the buildings are tall, especially like Big Ben.
Big Ben
and St. Paul's Cathedral. By the way, all the locations in this city, I can't even name them all. There's so many of them. And when you go into the mini map, they'll point out all the different historical sites, and it'll open up an encyclopedia, and you can actually read up on those historical sites.
Oh, cool.
And there are there are so
like
many
when they
of
do
them
that.
too.
They did that a lot when they were in Italy. It's like it was a common
They did it
theme
with France,
earlier
too,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I remember the whole thing was that Notre Dame was made to like scale or whatever.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And this too.
And this too. But I was going to ask you about St. Paul's, because St. Paul's is probably the most, like, if not the most, one
that
of the most
Parliament.
iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Ben's kind of a thing. People
That's
know.
true. And is this pre or post Tower Bridge? I guess Tower Bridge doesn't exist at this point.
I'm not sure. It doesn't even go. The map doesn't even go over to like the
Thames?
Tower of London.
Oh, really?
It has the Thames. It stops short of.
So it's just on that side of it.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like that one bend. You know when Thames bends, like it starts with Parliament and kind of bends over. It stops short of that section of London. It's not all of London. London is still huge.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like this map is huge. And speaking of the Thames, it is overflowing with boats and float Sams and like little boats that you jump on in. It's almost like Frogger where you're jumping from one to the other. And it's so much fun to traverse.
That's awesome.
And for the longest time I was like, oh, I can't touch the water, I'll die. And so I'm like not, and I just jumped in the water, and you don't die, you can swim.
You can swim, yeah.
It's just really like gross, like green brownish water, right? So I can understand why the water now is crap too, because they ruined it back then. But the going back to St. Paul's Cathedral and Parliament buildings, it looks to scale. Like I've been outside of St. Paul's Cathedral, and the historians did an amazing job of recreating classic London. They took the maps of the city and they designed it to. I don't think it's exact, only because I did pull up Google Maps, and the distances seem farther, obviously, because you don't want to spend like 30 minutes going from one end of the city to the other, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter, because when I'm walking in the city, I feel like I'm walking in 19th century London.
Oh,
nice.
That's so cool. See, for me, like I've never been like a big Assassin's player. I like it, but I don't play it as much. But part of me just wants to get this game just to take a stroll through London.
I will say this:
I'm slightly obsessed with London, and I would love to go.
If you are a fan of history, if you're a fan of London, and you haven't played an Assassin's Creed game, I'd still say get this game.
Really?
Because the city, you get immersed so well in this city.
Yeah.
It is so cool to just explore. Just not even do missions. Just walk around and explore it.
Yeah.
Another thing they introduced were horse-drawn. Well, I don't know, horse-drawn carriages. You can drive around in the city.
Nice.
There are parts in the game where you have like a ram function, so you have to ram like other people off.
Ooh.
I didn't like it.
Oh.
I know. I liked it because I could get from point A to point B a lot faster than grappling hook. Like when I was using the grappling hook and jumping from building to building, almost felt like 19th century Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
A little bit. But for the most part, the horse-drawn carriages are really clunky.
Wow.
I mean, it's a horse, so it's not going to
yeah.
drive like a car, so it's supposed to be, but it's not fun. It wasn't fun for me to drive those carriages. Your turns are really, really long turns unless you slow down, and the horse, like, you see the horse stop, and it drags down the road, so you don't stop on a dime, obviously, and you have to hit turns slow sometimes if you want to get a sharper turn. It's just really annoying. And so assassins, sometimes in the game, one time in the game, I injured a civilian. It says, "Warning, assassins don't hurt civilians." I can't tell you how many civilians I ran over with this cart. I murdered half of London with this cart.
And they were fine with it?
Fine with it. They're like, "Oh, yeah, you're in a cart. It's a horse. The horse did it, not you. Maybe you were steering the horse, but, awesome. I felt like it almost sucked me out of being an assassin riding those carts. Because of killing all the innocent people, because you got a little orphan beggars, "Oh, penny for an orphan." They'll say that to you, and then you're driving your cart, and you'll run them all over without a second thought. And there's no warning that comes up, and it didn't feel right to be riding that cart.
Yeah.
I should have just been but I mean, the streets are filled with carts, so there was really no excuse for them. Not to, like, if they didn't have it in the game, I would have said, "Why aren't carts in the game? They're everywhere. Why can't you drive them?" So I drove them. I avoid them at all costs. Sometimes missions force you to drive them, and I didn't really like those missions only because it's very clunky,
right.
and you easily get clipped by a tree, or you get clipped by the side of a building. You're like, "Oh, you need to hit start and reset the mission and go back and do it all over again. All right, I got to hit this turn better." So I didn't really like that aspect of the game. The fighting in the game is very dirty.
Nice.
Like picture Gangs of New York.
Ooh,
I like that.
Good reference.
So London itself is red when you get it, like when you zoom out, and every section, London is sectioned off, and within those sections are little regions that you have to either assassinate a Templar, liberate child laborers, which was a lot of fun because you get to save kids, right? You're like, "Yeah, do it for the kids,"
and then run them over.
Another aspect they added was kidnapping people.
Ooh.
So you come up behind someone, you kind of strong arm them, and then you've got a ring around you that is a detection ring. And the slower you walk, like essentially the more calmer you walk, the smaller the ring. Then they'll try to struggle, and you'll hit X, and you'll shake them so they won't struggle. And you got to get them in a cart, and then you essentially kidnap them. And so you got to do those missions, and as you do those missions, you start to liberate those sections of London. And then your gang takes over that. And once you liberate an entire section, you have a gang war after. And that is, it's not as big as it sounds.
Yeah.
All right? You got like 10 or 11 or 12 gang members fighting each other. But that's Gangs in New York.
Yeah.
Where you meet with the little cutscene where you meet with the guy, you're like, "Yeah, you got to fight for this section of London." You're like, "All right, yeah, sure." And then you get out, and then you're in like a laneway, and there's people around watching, and then you just kind of run at each other and just beat the crap out of each other, right?
Nice.
And you got the top hats and all this stuff, so it's very like that. Just reminded me of Gangs in New York.
Yeah.
And the fighting's really dirty. Where in the old Assassin's games, you one or two stabs and you'd kill a guy.
Yeah.
This one you're punching the crap out of them. You're breaking arms. You're gouging eyeballs.
Wow!
Like it's a really dirty fighting. When the leveling gets higher up, you do a lot of punching.
Yeah.
Like a lot of punching, and a little bit too much stabbing almost.
Oh.
And so after a while, you're like, "Okay, I get it. Like this guy should be down by now, but he's not because he's a higher level, obviously." So the fighting gets a little prolonged as you go along to the point where it's a little too much.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it really gets you into that gritty London, the gritty, seedy London underground kind of thing, right?
I like that.
Yeah, it's a really cool fighting system. I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but it reminds me of the Arkham series and Batman, because a lot of games are taking on that.
It looked like it, yeah.
And it is. And at later on, when you level up, you have the ability to kill 2 characters at the same time because you'll weaken them, and then it'll go into an animation where you murder one, you'll murder the other guy. So, those fight scenes, those prolonged fight scenes, pay off at the end, especially later on when you level up, because as you level up, you have that ability to kill multiple people as you're fighting.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That was a lot of fun. The missions, the best missions in this game are the storyline missions, and the storyline is phenomenal in this game. There are great twists in it. And you have a lot of fun either doing the actual mission of trying to take down Crawford Steric, or some of the side missions with named characters like Alexander Graham Bell's in the game, and Charles Darwin's in the game, Dickens is in the game,
Cool.
Florence Nightingale is in the game, who pioneered nursing, and you kind of help her with nursing stuff, right? And so you learn a lot. This game teaches you a lot about history as well.
Cool.
And, some history buffs may be like, or not history buffs, some people who don't like history be like, I don't want to learn about history. But you have so much fun in the city that you're like, oh, didn't that guy invent the telephone? Oh, that's really cool, because he's like not like this really old guy in the game. He's a little younger, right? And so you meet all these characters, and it just does more to further immerse you in this world. It was a lot of fun to play, and I don't think I'm missing anything here. Let me just go over my notes. No, I'm pretty sure that's everything.
Looks like Christine has a question.
I have a question.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a difference when you're playing Jacob and Evie? Like, is there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's something I missed. Evie focuses more on stealth.
Okay.
And Jacob focuses more on just strong arming, brute force kind of thing. When you play them early on and even mid game, there's not really much of a difference. There are 3 weapons choices that you can use. You have brass knuckles, you have a sword, and you have a cane. That cane comes out with a knife. Evie mostly will use the cane, and Jacob has either the sword or the brass knuckles. Brass knuckles are a little better. When it all comes down to it, every weapon is the same. There's there's aesthetically different, and the animations are different, but they all are means to an end of murdering somebody, right? So there's not much of a difference, and you still have the hidden knife and all that stuff, right?
The hidden blade's my favorite.
Yeah. Later on in the game, there are specific unlocks for Evie that are more stealth based. There are specific unlocks for Jacob that are more fight, like scrappy based almost.
Yeah.
For the most part, they're pretty much the same person. The storyline itself. There are specific missions for Evie. There are specific missions for Jacob. You can be either character, and you can switch them out as you go along. Like, you just hit options, and you share money. You share gang upgrades because you buy upgrades for your gang. And you share experience points, but you spend those experience points separately. So you unlock 10 experience points. You use those 10 experience points to unlock a tree for Evie. I focused more on stealth for Evie. And then, you hit options, you hit R3, and then it switches over to Jacob, and then you have to hit options again to go back into the skill tree, and then you spend 10 points on Jacob. So, and Jacob wears a belt that ups his strength and his fighting skills. Evie has a cape that will upgrade her stealth. And so there's a little more of a hyper focus depending on the character, but for the most part, when you're playing the game, you don't really notice it that much. You might be able to, later on in the game, Evie is much more difficult to detect than Jacob. And later on in the game, Jacob can hold his own in a fight way better than Evie can.
Interesting.
When it comes down to fisticuffs. So, but I mean, for the most part, the option is there to be stealthy as Jacob or to be scrappy as Evie. It's just you're one-upping the other character as you're playing them.
Okay.
But for the most part, I mean, I didn't find too much wrong with the game. The only thing I didn't like were the cutscenes with the current assassins. That storyline I did not give a crap about.
Really?
Like, I just, like, holy crap, because I'm really into Evie and Jacob's story, and they're trying to find the piece of Eden.
Yeah.
And obviously the current assassins are trying to find the same piece. That's why they're doing this. I didn't care at all about the current storyline. Like, every time it sucked me out of the game, I'd be like, I wanted to keep going, and I got to listen to these stupid cutscenes. Like, I didn't care about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have cared about them more if they were interactive, like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But I just that was my biggest gripe with the game.
If that's your biggest gripe, then it sounds like they made a turnaround.
The graphical errors are gone from Unity.
Yeah.
It's a very streamlined game. When you play it, you know exactly what you're getting into. The Ubisoft is giving you this game on a silver platter. Like, this is what we wanted. This is exactly how we envisioned the game. Take it, and we've cut out all that fat that was in all the other games. It's gone. I don't know if they listened or not. I'm sure maybe they have.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is what Assassin's fans want. They want to be an assassin in a city, and worry about co-op and all that other stupid stuff later on. And there's hardly any Uplay references in the game.
Good.
You can buy experience boosts, and you can buy through Helix points, and you can purchase that online, which was unlocked last night because I couldn't before it was released. I couldn't buy anything on the online store, right? Also, I'm finding with a lot of games, like, I open up the box and I've got like 3 cards, and they've all got codes for here, Jack the Ripper levels, play these, and put them in the game. Stop giving me that crap. I'm so tired of it. And it's not just Ubisoft.
No.
And it's not just Assassins. It's a lot of games. It's the gaming industry as a whole right now. You get a lot of games. You open it up, and like Battlefront, for example. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but you buy a seasons pass for four expansion packs that you don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
I've got 3 missions that are in Assassins that just put them in the game.
Yeah, like, I get the seasons pass and I get the DLC later.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating for me when I open a brand new game and it's like, here's a card with the code to download this thing. I'm like, if it comes with the game, just put it in the game.
Yeah. Put it in the game!
Yeah, if it's DLC later, fine. If it's DLC later. But
bugs
if it's part of the game right off the bat, put it in the game so I don't have to download it separately.
I haven't played the Jack the Ripper game yet, level yet, because it's not in the game because I didn't put the code in.
No, that sounds like cool, though.
It would be cool, and I'm going to do it eventually when I have time to, sit down and do it. But and maybe it just sounds like I'm just making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just putting a code in.
I just got to put a code in and then download it. But why? Just put it in the game. What's prohibiting the developer from going through the, like, okay, these are all the cards. These are the cards that we're going to put in the actual box. And we'll ship it out that way. Why isn't someone so why don't we just put the codes in for the player and just let them play that game?
Maybe they want you to know it's there.
Maybe they want you to go to that section and like, oh, by the way, you can also buy this. Oh, that's cool. I'll buy that.
Oh, maybe.
But I mean, like, that's like this game is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's so immersive, and it's so rewarding to murder people. and it's
with
so
your horse cart.
Yeah, with your horse cart. And it's just like, I had such a good time with this game.
All right, so I feel like I know where you're going, but what are you going to give this score?
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
9 out of 10.
And Christina approves, so I've kept my job.
That makes me so happy because I was so disappointed previously where, it was so hard to give Unity that, what did I give it, like a 6 or a 7 or something?
And it deserved it.
It was so heartbreaking.
Yes, because you're a fan of the game.
Yeah.
And they gave you a game that almost looked incomplete.
It was just like
or frustrating to play. Like, just looking at that map turned me off.
Yeah.
Looking at
my
the actual
God,
screenshot of the map, and they had there's a picture online of a petri dish, 2 petri dishes. One is the original Assassin's Creed game map, and with all the stuff you can do, and then Unity with all the different colors and all the different stuff you can do, and it says, this is what happens when you leave Assassin's Creed out for too long. and
that's funny. I like that.
They all but eliminated that in this game.
Yeah.
And I love the focus of it. I love that, because that worried me, to be honest with you, because I know what happened in Unity, and I didn't want that to continue. And it looks like they listened, because that's all gone. There's no co-op. There's none of that crap. There's none of that. You go, what do you play and do this, and then you can play this mission.
All right.
No.
Download this app.
All right, so 9 out of 10 for Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Buy the game.